At some point in the life of a killer idea, you're going to have to take a risk to see if the idea will become a killer innovation. How comfortable are you about taking risk?
This is the Killer Innovations Podcast with Phil McKinney. Keep in mind that the information and opinions expressed in this podcast are Phil's, and Phil's alone, and they don't necessarily reflect those of his past, current, or future employers. Now, here's Phil McKinney.
So, you've come up with that killer idea. To move it forward, you need to take a risk. Now, the range of risks can go from investing your entire retirement fund, to quitting your job, to convincing others to take risk with you, where you're asking them to risk their retirement fund, their job security. But then you hesitate. The risk seems huge, and you start to second-guess the original idea. You ask yourself, is the potential value of what this killer idea is worth the risk? And immediately your reaction is to retreat back to the comfort of the safe option. Stay where you're at and do nothing. Before you give up, let's understand how our mind processes risk. Back in 2005, a German researcher surveyed 20,000 people about their risk behavior. Now, there's some interesting outcomes from this that may not seem logical. For instance, tall people are more prepared to take risks than short people. Women take fewer risks than men. And the willingness to take risks decreases dramatically with age. Now, the key influencers that they came out of the entire survey were age, gender, height, and parental education. How much education did the individual's parents get? Now, people who were most confident with their lives, meaning they had good security where they were at, they'd had recognition, they'd had success previously in their lives, were more willing to take more risk. So, if you're an older woman, are you doomed to realize your killer idea, meaning you're in this risk profile, and therefore you should just give up? No. Half the battle is knowing your risk profile. The risk profile is what I would refer to as that comfort zone. How much risk are you willing to take? If you're in one of the risk segments that's uncomfortable with taking significant risks, such as older women, then becoming aware of the tendency not to take risk is really the first step, because you can change. It's understanding what makes you uncomfortable. Ask yourself why the potential for risk is so unnerving for you. Now, for older people, it could be the risk of losing money set aside for retirement. It could be the perception of losing face should the idea fail. You've worked so long and hard to have a successful career, to have a big blowout happen because you took this risk and it didn't work out. Sit down and write out in detail your concerns about taking the risk. Is it about money? Is it about saving face? Is it about family? Is it about something else? Whatever it is, list them all out. Then come up with ideas that neutralize each concern. For example, if you're concerned about losing your retirement money, then think about ideas where you can use monies from others, whether it's raising venture capitalists, angel investors, or something else. Or invest a little, set a goal, try the idea out with a little bit of money. If the goal is achieved, then you invest a little bit more. You don't need to jump all in right from the beginning. Just as a gated funding model works in enterprises and in venture capitalists, you can apply that same model to your idea as an individual. The objective is to neutralize the feeling of risk. Risk doesn't go away. You haven't fundamentally changed the overall risk profile, but it's your feeling of risk. And by listing these all out and using your creativity to come up with ways to neutralize them, you can reduce the feeling of risk. This same approach works for your boss or your spouse. The difference being is that you need to identify their concerns on risk. What is their risk profile? How does your boss going through and evaluating the risk of an idea that you're pitching? How do you convince your spouse to take a little bit of that money that's in the savings account and apply it to your idea? So again, the difference is that it's not about your risk profile, but if you're needing to get the idea over a hump, look at the risk profile for the key decision maker, your boss, your spouse, somebody that you're trying to convince to join you. Then apply the same level of creativity you used to come up with your idea to creatively address their fears about risk. All of us experience fear. Back in high school and college, I used to teach rock climbing. And the one thing I learned up on the face of the rock with students is that everyone has a fear of heights. What's different is that everyone deals with it differently. Some people climbing rocks, that fear is an adrenaline rush. It gives them energy. It gets them focused. For others, that fear of height is paralyzing. They get halfway up the face of the rock. They can't go up. They can't retreat to go down. They become totally stuck. They become paralyzed by their fear. The same when it comes to taking risk, whether it's investing in stocks versus investing in bonds, quitting our job to pursue a killer idea or to stay in the same company and go for that 25-year gold watch. Everyone is not cut out for risk. But don't give up too early. If you're one of those people where risk and fear just paralyzes you, take a deep look at what is scaring you, what is causing that deep-seated fear, and see if it's warranted. What is the real downside? Get a realistic perspective of what it is you are truly risking. What is it you would lose by taking this chance to go execute against your killer idea? See if the risk is really, or that fear is really warranted, and brainstorm on how to neutralize it. Use your creativity, the same level of creativity used in creating your idea. Brainstorm ways to neutralize your fear. Neutralize that risk so that you can get comfortable with it. And then take the plunge. Thanks for listening to this week's podcast. Send your feedback to podcast@killerinnovations.com or post your comments on the blog. You can also follow over at Twitter at Phil McKinney. You can also get the weekly Killer Question on Twitter by following Killer Question. Don't forget to pay it forward. It's all I ask for the listeners of the podcast. Just as my early mentors invested in me and their only instruction was for me to pay it forward, all I ask of you is to pay it forward. Link to the site, blog about the content, or let people know on your Twitter feed about the podcast. Also, follow upcoming events under the Speaking tab at the Killer Innovations website. I've been updating that recently, and a number of speaking opportunities are coming up. Some of those are public, and you'd be more than welcome to attend. Also, I do apologize for the audio quality. I am recovering from a very bad cold over the last couple of weeks, so bear with the scratchy voice. Thanks again for taking the time to listen. We'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.